one of the more well-known Washington National fans, Dr. Anthony Fauci, to throw out the first pitch.
Fauci!
Oh. And just a bit outside. Now, Anthony Fauci, let's take a look at that again. An American hero. This is like a major league type thing. So you got the first game of the year, you got the mascot, you got the hero, and just a bit on ball 4, ball 8. He's walked the bases loaded. But I will say this. He's an American hero. So is our guest tonight. Hammer time. Jennifer Hammond, it's an honor. It's great to have you. It's great to see you. And as I mentioned, that's Fauci throwing it outside. I think if you're out there, you go right down the middle for a strike.
Well, you know what I did, and I have it right here. I'm already getting right to the house guest.
You already got it.
I've already got it, but I've got lots of things to show you. How do I flip my camera around? Can I?
Yeah, you know what? I don't know if, Dave, did we have an issue with that before? Like, I don't think you could do it live.
Oh, darn it. All right, hang on. I'm going to turn this way.
We'll pretend.
I'm going to turn this way and show you.
Oh,
there
we go.
The game that I threw the first pitch out for was Saturday, June 16th, 2012, against the Colorado Rockies.
Oh, that's awesome.
And my friend Robin Buxton, I don't know if you can see this picture of me.
Oh, yeah, we can see it. You look great. Look at the excitement on your face.
Well, no, that expression says, am I allowed to swear on here?
Yeah, you can say whatever the hell you want.
I sucked. I went all the way out to the mound because I didn't want to be a girl and I didn't want to get halfway and toss it underhand or anything. And, the rest is history. You did better than Fauci. You did better than Fauci. And that's why you guys are both American heroes. So, Jennifer, it's as I said, it's great to see. There's so much I want to talk with you about. And Dave's prepared what we call a Dan Leach one-on-one starring Jennifer Hammond. 5, questions. I have no idea what they are. We'll have fun with that as well. But I wanted to say this. I've known you for a long time. You had to deal with me as an intern. And I'll tell you this. I've had some great people on this show. But when I told people you were coming on and I posted a preview, I don't know if we've ever gotten the kind of response of how many people simply love you, respect you, and appreciate what you have meant. I will say this. You've meant this for a long time. What was the first year at Fox 299? Well, so actually my first year full time on the staff at Fox 2 was 97. But prior to that, in 95 and 96, I did some freelance for them when I was still working at WDFN. They hired me to do, it was when Fox first bought into all of the NFC markets.
Right, that's right.
CBS, WJBK was CBS up until then. And as soon as the NFL got to Detroit, or as soon as the Fox came to Detroit, they wanted to get in on, the NFL pregame shows and the NHL and all of that, NHL on Fox. So I used to travel around for WDFN and also for Fox and do their pregame shows.
Yeah.
Way back in the day, 95, 97. Yeah.
So it's been a while. And as I mentioned, I saved the best for last. Now I've had all my mentors for Fox 2, you, Woody, and Dan, and Greg Cantor on. But aside from how amazing of a job you've done for almost 3 decades, the stuff you have, and Dan Miller brought this up too when I had Dan on, the stuff you have done during the COVID shutdown and the stories you have come up with and how hard you have worked, I think epitomizes why you have so many people that respect the heck out of you. Because not that you would ever mail anything in, but the level of quality of stories you've done has been off the charts, Jen.
Thank you. I appreciate the kind words. Staying power, I always believe, is never an accident. I feel incredibly blessed, though, that I have, with that said, worked for and with Dan Miller for my entire full-time tenure at Fox 2, 97. I mean, he came in shortly, I think maybe he came in 98, shortly after I worked with Mark Wilson and Frank Malakote.
Right.
And then with Miller. But Dan Miller, he's been really a blessing in my life and to my career. Not only is he a great friend and an incredible professional and guy to learn from, but he just has always been really funny and fair and honest and open with me, I make mistakes. We all make mistakes.
We all make mistakes. I make a ton of them.
Yeah, and he's a great source of. He's almost like my big brother. I equate him to that kind of relationship that we have, and he always makes sure that he gives it to me straight, but then he'll compliment me, and it's just I always know where I stand, and that's the best work relationship I believe you can ever have with anyone.
100%.
In any kind of relationship.
And we, of course, we have the kingpin as always, the legendary Dave Rieger. I've got in trouble. I've got in trouble for saying the. I've got in trouble for saying the better Rieger, so I won't say that anymore.
Yeah.
But Dave, you go way back with Jennifer as well. I know.
Well, I worked at DFN after she had left.
Yeah.
I worked at DFN from like 2002 to 2007, but we've crossed paths occasionally here and there. She's crossed paths more with my brother. I actually have talked to Hammer more via FaceTime with my brother while I've been babysitting Olive.
When you're babysitting Olive.
He's at Comerica, was sitting through a Tiger game, and then all of a sudden Hammer will come on the screen. So I've seen Hammer that way more than
that
actually,
little Olive is
more than
such
seeing
a
her,
cutie.
She is
more than seeing actually Hammer out at like games and stuff, which is kind of funny.
Well, one of my favorite reunions. Sorry to interrupt there, Leach. One of my favorite reunions with the radio was when I did the Beckman. I did the fill-in on the Beckman show a couple times from training camp, though, and I will tell you, I had such a great sense of peace and calm that Dave Rieger was behind me, pulling the strings and telling me when to break and what to do and where to go, and it really takes. It takes a lot of people. It takes a village to do radio and TV and podcasts and any type of broadcast. And I mean, like, I don't know where I'd be all my career without Greg Canner. There's no way that I would be as good as I am. He's the best there is in this business.
No, that's very. I mean,
he's our producer at Fox 2.
Yeah, he was on the show.
He was on the show. Yeah.
Yeah, and
I thank him when I anchor at night.
He's the best.
I call the producer Greg Canner.
The Gag Attack. I actually had him on a show, my Jen, the night the Caps won the Stanley Cup. He was super nervous. He came on. He was fantastic. And you could feel the energy and love coming out through him.
Yeah.
Because such a sorry Washington scene in sports, and they finally got that title.
I could openly root for the Caps that year because I always did whenever they made it to the playoffs and the Wings weren't in it, or I didn't have another rooting interest. I always would root for the Caps for Greg because he lives and dies with his teams, man. I've never seen anything like it.
By the way, we got founding member of the task force who we sent to the wilderness to learn other things. Michael Stats saying hi to you, Jen. So there's some love for Jen.
Hello, Stats.
Please,
AKA Bill.
Yeah, can you please tell a story of why you call Stats Bill? I find that hilarious.
Well, I've stopped since then. I now just call him Stats. But it was just one day in the Lions press room. I don't even remember. I thought I heard someone else call him Bill, and I'm not really very good with names unless, you're from my past. My short-term memory is pretty much fried because I'm of that age and other habits.
What, 31 years old? That age?
Yeah, sure. And so I thought his name was Bill, and I just said, hey, Kyle, hey, Bill.
It's the greatest story ever.
And he didn't correct me. I love it. So I just kept calling him Bill. And somebody goes,
Stats.
Why do you call him Bill? And I'm like, isn't that his name? Like he didn't correct me.
It's my new nickname for him.
Good.
Bill.
He didn't correct me.
Speaking of FaceTiming Rieger in the press box, when me and Jeff are betting on innings and over under hits in each inning, and Jeff owes like less than 1,500 in the press box. You mentioned that there's an issue with you wanted to explain why you're on your phone tonight. What happened?
Oh, I have tendonitis in my right elbow.
Oh, no.
For those of you, so it's commonly referred to as tennis elbow.
Yes, I've had it.
I'm on IR, which is a shame because I was playing some of the best golf of my life.
And we haven't had a chance to get out this year. I'm very upset.
I'm quite ticked off, by the way. But so I went to one of my friends, a friend's lake cottage this weekend in Port Huron, right on Lake Huron, and it was beautiful. And another friend of ours has a dog named Rocco, and Rocco loves to play fetch. It's a Yorkie poo, and this dog will chase the ball for literally 3-4 hours. I kid you not.
And I'm really kind of a gamer and I like to play games. And so we were just sitting around the campfire having cocktails and hanging out. And I just was throwing the ball to the dog literally the whole time. He brings it right to my feet. I scoop it up. I've got one of those little orange ricochet slingshot ball things. And I was kind of sidearming it like this way, not a straight. And I woke up Sunday morning and my elbow was sore. And I was like, oh, what's that? And I didn't know what. I thought I bumped it or something. As the day went on, got worse and worse. And I went yesterday to the orthopedic and he said, oh yeah, you've got tendonitis in there, elbow tendonitis. And he goes, I hate to tell you, it could last 9 months.
Oh no. So can you still play golf?
I don't know. I got one of those bands that you can
Yeah,
wear,
I've seen those.
So I'm going to try. I've got a tee time Saturday. I'm going to try to play Saturday. We'll see what happens.
Well, please rest up so we can get out there and play soon because Dave's been playing some of the greatest golf of his life. And the Squatch, no driver off the tee, but the 5-iron, as Dave knows, very solid. Straight down the middle, about $170, $180. And I can always get there in 3, but it's a matter of putting.
And as long as you can hit it straight, I'll tell you, I teed off for probably 2 or 3 summers in a row with my 3-iron. Because I couldn't hit driver.
I'm not ready. I got to get a new driver.
Yeah,
you have to get a new driver.
I've been doing okay with my driver as of late. I've got a full-on Callaway bag. I am all Callaway.
You take Dan to an executive course. He's money with the 5-iron.
Money. Now,
really?
Jen, we got a big fan of the show. Jason Brown wanted to thank you for all your support of Detroit Pal. So he as I said. Pal. I did an event for Pal at the Old Tiger Stadium a couple years ago now, and it was really special to be there. The old corner of Michigan in trouble. But you kind of alluded to some of it, Jen. You went over a little of the history. For those that don't know, just give a little background about where you grew up, what got you, inspired to get into broadcasting and to get into doing what you do at such a high level. What started all that, and kind of a little bit of your journey towards where you're at now, which is one of the most respected reporters anchors I've ever seen.
All right, stop it. I paid you.
I mean it.
I didn't pay you that much. So
yeah, like $5.
I actually started. I was born in suburban Chicago in a little town called Lake Forest, Illinois, and it's where the Chicago Bears have their training camp in Lake Forest. It's where Hallis Hall is, and I was born there. And when I was very young, I actually have a cassette tape. My dad always used to put a microphone and a tape recorder up on the counter at dinner. I'd go back, and my mom and dad were divorced when I was young, so we'd go to my dad's for the weekend, and just while we were just hanging out in the kitchen, he liked to take pictures and record our voices, to kind of chronicle things, I suppose is a good way of saying it.
Sure.
And I found this tape where literally I must have been 5 years old. And I said on it, I said, I would just start jabbering into the microphone. I loved talking. I was the youngest of 5. And then when my mom remarried, they had 7. So I was the youngest of 12. So I kind of wanted to be heard and seen because I felt so, as the youngest, you're always chasing. You're always chasing
right.
and fighting for time and, a slice of pie and attention and all of that stuff. And I sat down at this little microphone and one of the first things I ever said was, hello, sports fans. And I couldn't say my R's when I was little. So I have this recording of me saying, hello, sports fans. And it was really funny because I never heard it until much, much later in my life after I was already, in broadcasting. But anyway, so then I moved to Detroit, suburban Detroit, when I was 10 and grew up here. And when I was probably by 7th or 8th grade, I started watching, football, 6th grade even. I was a sports fan as a young kid. We didn't go to games as a family or anything like that. Unfortunately, I don't have any wonderful stories of going to Tiger Stadium to see see the Lions play at Briggs or whatever it was, or any of that. But I just loved sports, and I saw Phyllis George doing it, and I thought, that's what I want to be. I love that. I love football. I loved everything, that whole thrill of victory and the agony of defeat.
Yep.
I loved everything about the stories of sports and really the way that it shapes everyone's memories and emotions. And you can always remember where you were when. And so I just really fell in love with sports. And I remember a lot of people said to me, oh, you can't do that, including my mother. She was very, kind of opinionated about how it's much easier for a woman to succeed in business rather than in broadcasting and sportscasting. She thought I was kind of maybe trying to go off into, the road less traveled, or what is that? Is it the road?
Yeah, MC
right?
Scott Peck. It was like the number one book for like 30 years.
She thought it was too far off track, off the beaten path for me to pursue something like that. But I said, you know what? Watch me. I'm going to do it. And I went to Western Michigan. And actually, when I was in high school, I worked in the broadcast and I did the morning announcements for the TV station and for the radio station. And then I went to Western and I worked at the sports information department. First interview I ever did there was with Jack Harbaugh. Jim's dad was the coach at Western for the Broncos when I was there. 83 through 88 is when I was there. And he was there in the first couple of years. And John Offerdahl was there. So we had some interesting stories to tell. And worked at a radio station in Kalamazoo and then went to Chicago. Couldn't get a job doing sports or TV. And I wanted to do TV. So I took a job. The first job I was offered was as a traffic reporter. And
you got to do whatever it takes.
I did whatever it took. And then that led to doing traffic on CLTV on television. And one morning, the news anchor who was reading the morning sports from the night before that the guys left her, she said, I don't want to read this. I pronounce, Ozzie Gillian. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm doing. And I said, I'll do it. I said, I'll do it. I'll do it. And that was it. And so I started doing that. And then WDFN was going on the air here in Detroit. And I never anticipated that I would come back to Detroit after I'd already been in Chicago on the air.
Right.
But I wanted to do sports full time. And Lorna Gladstone, who started WDFN, was from Chicago as well, from the Tribune. And so I had a relationship with her through that. She was at WGN, actually. And so I came here and interviewed with her, and she wanted someone from Detroit. So it just fit. And Art Regner and Greg Henson did the interview. And we just started talking about Bo and Michigan football because my sister went to Michigan, and the rest is history.
And it's been some incredible history. Speaking of DFN, good friend of the show, just a great guy. Matt Derry weighing in. Saying
hello, Matt Derry.
Great seeing Hammer on the Force. Huge heart and one of the best people out there. Great show, DTM in Augustin. Yeah,
he was one of my very first neighbors in Birmingham when he first came to WDFN. I said, "Oh yeah, there's great apartments, and Birmingham's a great little area to live." And so he was one of my neighbors. He and his wife Lisa were.
Well, and much like you, Diesel has always been super kind to me, even as crazy as I've been at times in my life. So I thank both of you. It's always great to see Diesel watching the show. So I mentioned, we started that you've done some incredible stories to keep people up to date during the sports shutdown. Thank God. By the way, Dave's worried there might be some rights infringements here, but I'm going to do it for a second anyway. Because, Jen, it's been a long time since we could say live baseball. Live baseball. There you go. So there's some live baseball.
Isn't it awesome?
It is. So let me just not do it.
So much fun to watch.
It is. And I don't care if there's
incredible.
no fans.
Dan, you find it more exciting to watch this than the Korean baseball league that's on like at 4:00 in the morning?
You know what? I just couldn't get into that. I swear, I just couldn't.
Even the dancing cheerleaders, that sing the Carl Ravitch song and everything. That was
and the fake sex robots in the stands. All right, so let me not get in trouble from the Major League Baseball people. But as I mentioned, Jen, you've done some incredible stories, and I wanted to kind of ask you about what it's been like, obviously until now, with no team sports in America. And what this whole period of, obviously, as I've called it, the year of years and just the craziest time in my life, aside from like personal issues I've gone through, but for what you bless you, my child, for what you do and what Dave does and what I do, this has been an incredibly crazy time. What has it been like for you?
Well, from the beginning, I vowed that I was not going to leave our department or myself or Dan Miller without an option. And everything wasn't, Emmy Award winning, but I always had something that he could go to or throw to. It was interesting because I got a lot of people who would send me things and say, hey, here's a story idea. Hey, have you heard about this? Because I did some on a girl who was going to run cross country at the University of Michigan for her senior year. And, just on kind of the element of missing out on that, and also Isaiah Livers on trying to make his decision of whether he was going to leave or not. I did another one that actually Tom Izzo and Mateen Cleaves on the anniversary of their national championship were so lovely, and Charlie Bell were so lovely to do interviews with me, and we Zoomed, and I actually had Mateen and Tom on together, and it was just great. Just like, I think the whole notion of us being kind of, like we said, in this together with the quarantine and the whole COVID situation, I think people really wanted to reach out and connect. And the Zooms certainly became the method of doing that. And very early on, I think people needed that kind of connection and needed to have conversation and needed to just to feel like they were doing something with, themselves on a professional level, because it really was bizarre. I mean, let's just face it. It was, sitting home, not knowing really how long we were going to be there. But everybody was very gracious, and most people that I reached out to, I can't tell you if no one turned me down, and then there was another gentleman that one of my favorite stories was on the date of when the national championship game would have been for college basketball. I got a tip on the man who wrote the song "One Shining Moment."
Oh, wow.
And I did a story with him, and he actually lives in Ann Arbor or Ypsilanti. I think Ann Arbor.
Really?
He lives in the area.
I didn't know that.
Wow.
I'm sorry I missed that.
Hopefully you can find it on fox2.com, fox2detroit.com. I know that website. But it was really fascinating because it was so eloquent the way he explained, like he wrote it on a napkin at a bar, that he was watching it, and he's like, God, the emotion of it, and that song has stayed with, I think, every basketball fan, that it's a highlight of the tournament, and even for the kids, and it was just really interesting to talk to him. And I just wanted to bring stories to people that maybe they hadn't heard and maybe they hadn't thought about. And
did you ask him who his favorite singer was that they've used?
Gotta be Vandross. Gotta be
because they changed it for a while. They went away from Luther Vandross, and then they came back. They went to like Jennifer Hudson.
Luther's the best.
Well, thanks. No, I didn't ask him that. I just liked hearing him sing it to me. He sang it to me.
I'm going to try to find that story, by the way, on the website.
Yeah, it was really cool though. And, I just did a little bit of everything. I just wanted to make sure, and I wanted to have it booked up in advance. Right. I didn't want to wait till the day of. I would call people, a week in advance. Hey, can you? And the folks at PAL were great. I did a story with the folks at PAL and Midnight Golf. And, a lot of like players. Trey Flowers does a ton of stuff and did a lot of stuff for his foundation during the pandemic. And I also went out and did a story with the Downtown Boxing Gym on how they were using local Detroit restaurants to feed their kids in the program in the city, because a lot of those kids get their meals, either at school or at the program after school. And when those things aren't there aren't meals. And so there was a lot of coming together, I think, during the COVID and the lockdown, that it was meaningful. It felt like really kind of important. I took it as more of a public service, I guess, than a job. That it was my duty to share these stories, and it really felt good to do it.
Now, you did it, as I mentioned, and Dan Miller brought it up, Craig did, and so did Woody. Incredible job. I mean, Dan was glowing in his effusive praise of you. No, it really, you hit it on the head, John. It's a crazy time. Like, I've been off air at 97.1 since March, and that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm grateful to have people like you that have come on. You mentioned people not turning you down. The only one that had to turn me down was our great friend Heel Perkins, and the only reason was because corporate Fox didn't want him on other shows. So I totally get that. But he called me and he explained everything. But to stay connected has been so important, like you mentioned, and what you did really helped people connect. And I loved all the story. You mentioned some of the ones, you mentioned the Izzo one, which even as a Wolverine fan, I thought was awesome, and Charlie Bell. But I wanted to get your thoughts on this when we have sports coming back now.
Well, I did do some Michigan stuff too.
Oh, you did? I love that.
I had Sadie Washington come on.
Yep.
But also Bradford Banta, who is now the special teams.
I missed the Bradford Banta one. I gotta find that.
Wasn't that it? That was great. It was lovely. I mean, just they weren't. Bradford's going to kill me if he hears me say they weren't A-listers, but they were such great stories. Every story resonated, I think, with me certainly, and with sports fans and with people. And I think
Jen,
that's
some
what
of
it's all
the
about.
best stories have nothing to do with being an A-lister. You're totally right. Some of the
Right,
best,
right.
most interesting stories are the D-listers. I wanted to ask. I got a fan question first, and then we'll get to
good. My cat finally killed the fly that's been flying around my house for the last 2 hours.
dinner.
Good
Here,
girl, Lucy.
How is? Can we see Lucy, please?
Oh yeah, she's eating the fly.
How old is Lucy, by the way?
Lucy's probably 4.
Oh, look at Lucy. Listen, I'm not the biggest.
Oh, there's the dead fly.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest cat person, but I love Lucy. I know
Lucy too.
I love Lucy.
I say to her, "Hey, Lucy, you've got some splaining to do."
So here's a question from our friend Erwin Fletcher. He wants to know, and if you don't want to answer the second part of this question, that's fine. But if you do, it's fine too. Who has been your favorite athletes you've covered, and who have been the biggest pain in the asses?
Wow. Do you think one person could be both?
It's definitely both? Justin Verlander.
Oh, well, no.
I'm kidding.
Pain in the ass, yes. But Justin has done me some big solids. Here's one of them. I was going to show you this. Can you see that?
Oh, Barry's my favorite athlete ever, Jen. You know that.
So look at those eyes.
Oh, he's the greatest ever.
Yeah, and he signed that, and I probably shouldn't have had him do it, but my friend Dan Jarashowitz, who was the Lions equipment guy at the Silverdome from, I don't know, forever.
Right.
He got that for me. And Jack Gruber took that. He works now for News. I think he works for Newsweek in D.C.
By the way, quite the nice house you got going on there.
Thank you. I love my home. It's very
designed it quite well.
It's very comfortable. Thank you very much. Yeah, but I would say, gosh, I was watching Max pitch tonight, and I just thought, what a great guy he was. He was a great guy.
He was.
Who have been my favorite athletes you've covered, and what have the biggest pain in the asses? Oh, there it is. Okay. There's from Erwin. Okay. So I'm going to answer this seriously because it's really a question from someone. I
wasn't just making it up, Jen.
So Mark McGuire, well, I thought it was one of your questions, but it came from someone.
No, that's coming later.
So Mark McGuire was really a jerk to me. And I didn't care for that. I just don't like, and I don't want to, being a woman in this industry has been a challenge.
That was one of my next questions.
I've enjoyed that challenge. I like a challenge. And so I think that's really why I've, survived and persevered and thrived in this career, because if you tell me that I can't get something or can't do something,
you'll do it.
I'm going to do it.
Have you seen and obviously there's been women in sports. You mentioned Phyllis going back to, the 70s.
Yeah.
There's been women in sports for a while, but it's obviously gotten a lot better, and we know what's going on with the whole Me Too movement. Have you seen a big change? Do you think that it's gotten a lot better? Is there still a long way to go? Where are you at with that?
Well, it's been a long time since I've had anybody, drop their towel in the locker room in front of me on purpose or make some kind of lewd comment. I mean, it's been 10 years. It's been a while. But that stuff went on, and I will say there's a lot of brave women in the Me Too movement who I am grateful for, because that's not an easy place to be, and that's not a popular place to be, to stand up for yourself and other women. And really what they're doing is saying, this happened to me and I don't want to have anyone else have to go through it again.
Right.
Anyone that comes behind me. I don't think I ever had anything so egregious happen to me or so sexist or horrible that I had to, use my platform to speak out about it. But I definitely appreciate the women that have done so. And the other thing that I do, because somebody was just asking me the other day, or maybe it was today, my daughter was getting her senior pictures taken, and the gentleman who is a photographer also shoots some sports around town. And he said, who did you look up to, when you were first starting 27 years ago? Who was one of your mentors? And I said, I didn't have one, because there wasn't a woman in the market. And Ann Doyle has done a little bit for me here and there. We've had some meetings, but there was not a woman on the air or don't do that. Whereas when women come into the market now, and when Shannon Hogan first started, and Jamie Edmonds and other girls, I always try to be accepting and welcoming, not that catty competitive. I mean, Jamie Edmonds is one of my nearest and dearest friends.
She's fantastic.
Even though we compete against each other, and sometimes, if she doesn't get a press release on something, I'll go, hey, did you see this? Because, I don't root for anyone to fail, and especially women who are good at their jobs. I appreciate the camaraderie and the competition, and also the kind of bond that we all have, because no one else knows like we do.
No, it's well said. Before we get right into this Dan Leach 101 story, Jennifer Hammond, I wanted to ask you about, as I mentioned, sports. Teen sports are back for now. I hope I'm wrong, Jen, and Dave knows this. I've said this many times on this show. I don't see any of these seasons finishing. And like I said, I really hope I'm wrong. Where are you at? Baseball's back now. We just saw some live footage from the DC, with Scherzer and the Yankees. We got basketball next week, hockey soon, and then I don't think there's college football, but the NFL thinks they're going to play. Do you think the sports are going to finish? And where are you at with college sports and football in the fall in the NFL?
Yeah, I think I think baseball will finish, because they've got their protocols down. I think they're doing a very good job with, when someone tests positive, removing them, not shutting the whole thing down. I also believe that basketball is going to be fine, because they're all on a bubble. I mean, those people have been down there for a month now.
Yeah, but they're cheating. Some of them are leaving the bubble. There's a stitch outline.
Well, then they should get in trouble and not be able to play. And Russell Westbrook, with his positive test, that's created some concern, I'm sure, for a lot of those people. But I think football has to get a plan in place.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the one thing. They've got to get a plan in place. I believe that the almighty NFL, I mean, if they could have the success that they had, in all of these other seasons and challenges they've faced, I think they'll be able to pull it off this year. But the testing has to be there. And it sounds like there is rapid testing. And if they can get them on a system and a schedule to test them regularly, because that's the only way you're going to be able to keep people safe. And especially guys who don't have, who have families at home or have wives that are pregnant. I mean, there's so many unknowns about this virus. There's a lot of things that people thought they knew that they really don't know, that they've really got to make sure they've got backup plans and they have a way to keep people safe, even if it's, if a guy is test positive and they have the expanded rosters, pull somebody up and don't let that guy back until he has 2 negative tests, or, beyond 14 days. I mean, imagine if Matthew Stafford tests positive. That would be
season over.
Or Drew Brees, or
Tom Brady.
Yeah, Tom Brady. If any team
Von Miller for
Dave.
He already had it. Dan. He already had it, Dan.
Yeah, you can get it twice, Dave. We don't know.
He already had it, my friend.
Right.
Relax.
We don't know.
Relax,
Dan.
Dan. Relax.
That's true, though. They don't know if you can get it
Yeah.
twice. Oh, yeah, you're a Broncos fan.
Yeah,
That's
Jen,
right.
Jen,
That's
Jen,
right.
just so you
That's
know, Jen,
right.
Dave knows this. If Dave goes off the radar with Broncos stuff, he leaves the screen.
Brought
And
it
he
up,
comes
Dan.
back.
I didn't bring it
He
up.
comes back.
You
but
brought
he
up
leaves
the
the screen.
Broncos. I didn't bring it up.
Oh,
You
no,
brought
I'm
it
on
up.
the top row, though.
Come
Yeah,
on.
you're another special
row.
person.
I mean,
All right.
I didn't bring it
Dave,
up.
The Broncos were one of my teams. They were my AFC team in the 80s.
Of course,
I
of
loved
course they were. Yes.
I love John Elway.
Craig Norton and Haven Moses. Those were the Broncos for me.
And by the way, the third Rieger brother, also a graduate of Western Michigan.
The Clown Prince, Eric Rieger.
Yes, our brother who lives out in California.
That one.
No, he's the smart Rieger. He got a real job. He lives out. He works for Fitbit and formerly Amazon in California.
Or thousands? Doesn't he have like thousands of Amazon shares?
He's the smart Rieger. He lives out in California and he's living the dream out there. So yeah.
If he has any Amazon shares, he is the smart
He
Rieger.
has tons of Amazon shares.
A lot more than $5
that he liquidated when he moved from Amazon over to Fitbit. Yes. So
wow.
Yeah, Jen, do you think? So just to finish your point, do you think the NFL finishes?
Yes.
If they start. You do. All right.
If they start,
I agree. The NFL will find a way.
They're not going to not finish.
What if the numbers get out of control and referees have it and coaches have it and Mike Ditka gets it? I mean, there's so many moving parts there.
Mike Ditka.
Yeah,
I just played at Law Students there.
Boy, he's a funny guy. He's a
very
guy.
funny guy.
Funny
All right.
guy.
You hold on for 1 second here. We're going to get right into a Dan Leach one-on-one, but I want to take a quick minute to talk about our great friends at Michigan's finest cannabis company. And as I've said on every show, they're a big part of making this show possible. And people have asked me, they know my story. They know that I'm almost 10 years sober. Why would you want to partner with a cannabis company? And I'll tell you why. The reason why is because Doug and Scott, who created this amazing place, it's now open in Wayne, Michigan. They have a mission statement that they want to do whatever they can to obviously help people's quality of life. And we had Darren McCarty on the show recently. Darren McCarty was able to not stop it, but help his alcohol issues by getting on CBD and cannabis. They want to get people off of opiates. It's an opiate crisis in this country. So that's why I was very happy to partner with them. And of course, there's people that smoke recreationally. It's legal. And you want to get the best stuff. So check them out. Their website's right there. Promo code DTM420. 10% off. You can't beat that. Here's some more info for you as well on Michigan's finest. And Jen, you know my story. You know I've been sober for a long time, but I want people off the bad stuff. So if it takes marijuana, I'm fine with that.
Marijuana is not a gateway drug, by the way.
No. Not at
And I like
all.
that it's DTM 420. I get it.
And listen, did I smoke pot back in the day? Yes, but I also did everything back in the day. So but check them out.
I believe
DTM.
that marijuana is very important for a lot of people who face. My sister had an opioid addiction by no fault of her own. She had back surgery and they severed a nerve and they sent her to what was called a pain clinic and put her on oxycodone. And she went way down the rabbit hole and came out. And now she smokes pot and her pain is at bay and she's off the opioids. Thank God, because we almost lost her. It was pretty freaking scary.
Jen, I could be dead myself. My stepbrother passed away from an overdose a couple years ago, and that's why I want to do whatever I can. If it means smoking pot instead of heroin, smoking pot instead of oxy, then I'm fine with that. And Doug and Scott have done a great job.
Speaking of Darren McCarty, I smelled him at the catch outing the other day, too.
Well, when we played at Dearborn Country Club, Dave's brother, Jeff, it wasn't a greenery truck that day. I was very proud of him. Normally you can see that cloud of smoke following him around.
You can smell him coming.
For whatever reason, he was fine that day. All right, Dave has spent hours preparing a Dan Leach one-on-one. Starring Jennifer Hammond. Jen, normally I'm the one that's asking these questions or answering them, but today it's starring you. Are you ready for what we call a Dan Leach one-on-one starring Jennifer Hammond?
Okay, I am.
It's gonna. I have no idea what these questions are. It's gonna be emotional. It's gonna be great. Here we go, Dave. Question 1.
Well, we do know that baseball started today, but what I feel was the bigger sports story that happened today was former undisputed heavyweight champion Mike Tyson is now making his comeback. He will fight Roy Jones Jr. in an 8-round exhibition on September 12th in California. The bout will be broadcast on a pay-per-view as well as the multimedia platform Triller. According to a news release, Triller will also show a 10-part docuseries leading up to the bout. So 2 questions for you, Hammer, on this one. Are you watching the 10-part docuseries on Triller, and are you buying the pay-per-view?
So do I have to pay for the 10-part docuseries too?
Yeah, what is that?
That I'm not sure. It's Triller, Triller.
So it's like Michael Jackson's channel, Thriller. I've never heard of it. Jen, let's say you had to pay for it.
I happen to, I don't know if you saw my face light up. I happen to love Roy Jones.
Me too. I've interviewed him.
It was actually my pleasure. I met him at Manuel Stewart's funeral, and he is a lovely, lovely man.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, I don't think I'm buying either one though.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll tell you this.
If I get the docuseries for free, I might watch some episodes. But because I love docuseries.
Me too. Speaking of Roy Jones, as you mentioned, Amber, he's incredible. I have a good friend of mine named Cliff Early, who I used to do radio with. He's from Pensacola, so is obviously Roy Jones. And we did a live remote from this bar, New York Knicks, in Pensacola one time. And Roy came on for like an hour. He was incredibly kind. I don't care what people say. He was one of the best pound for pound guys ever.
And I'll tell you, when he had his big win, his big upset, I called it. I'm like, I am a Roy Jones guy, and I was going for it, and he won.
By the way, Stoney weighing in, Jen, saying, Haven Moses, you're the best. Great reset. The hammer is the best.
See?
Stone Squatch. By the way, he also said sometimes if you're not careful, you can smoke strong stuff and you can't drive, so you have to sleep in your friend's house.
Sounds like
that did happen. He had to sleep at my house once. He got so. Am I allowed to say this?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
There. He got so high he couldn't even walk. We had to take him in. Brad and I had to take him to our house. We had to drive him home, and then we had to call Cindy and tell her a lie about Stoney being at my house.
That is fan. I got to see Stoney high. I see Caputo high.
Oh.
For me, by the way, I'll watch the docuseries. I want to see Tyson Holyfield, but I'll definitely watch Tyson Roy Jones Jr. And I think Roy Jones Jr.
Tyson, I will too.
Yep. I think Roy Jones Jr. kicks his ass, just to me. I don't love Tyson, but I think he kicks his ass. Once Customato passed away, Tyson's old mentor and trainer, Tyson went nuts. He's not the same fighter. I think Roy Jones win that. All right, question 2, Dave.
All right, it's no secret, Hammer, that kids and cats, probably Lucy, like to play with cardboard boxes, sometimes more with the box than what's inside. So Amazon this week is introducing boxes with a built-in play factor. Starting this week, some Amazon orders will be delivered in more environmentally friendly boxes that can be turned into a rocket, a car, a fort, a pet, a robot costume, or a miniature golf windmill. These boxes are part of Amazon's Less Packaging, More Smiles program. What other boxes would you like to see Amazon's boxes turn into in the future?
And did Jen disappear? What happened to Jen? Oh, there she goes.
There she goes.
I've got an Amazon box.
It does not look like it's one of the new ones, though.
It's not big enough, but I bet Lucy could play in it.
Oh, yeah. It's like a house for Lucy.
So what would I like the box to be turned into?
Yeah, so they have a rocket or a car or a fort or a pet or a robot costume or a mini golf windmill. Do you have any ideas of what other things you might like the box to be turned into?
A basketball hoop.
Okay.
Ooh, I like it.
All right, there we go.
I like it. All right, for me, I want like a gummy bear castle. Like from the old show, The Gummy Bears. I want the gummy bears. Is Jen doing dishes?
I think Jen is cooking while we're doing this.
Do we have the first live cooking or dishes on the task force? Is this turning into
my house today? Show you.
You guys,
and look I have been slow roasting pork.
Oh, can I please have some?
Pork in my crock pot since 12:30 today, and I'm going to shred it. Look at this. Can you
look
see
at this? Oh, please save me some, please.
So look, I can just shred it, and then I'm going to put barbecue sauce in it. I've been working on this since 12:30 today, and sorry that I have.
No, we're gonna want Jen. It's better to do it while we're doing the show. I love this. All right, Dave, keep asking the questions.
It needed 8 hours on low. My girlfriend's like, cook it on high, and I said, no way.
No, you gotta let it slow roast.
Slow
right.
and look. Oh, can you see it?
Hold on, let's see. We're going.
Make
Oh
sure
wow,
It looks really good.
I need some of that immediately. I need some of that. That looks great. You know, pork's the Jew's best friend. All right, so let's. I hate pork. I'll tell you, Dave. I mentioned I want it to be like something to do with the gummy bears, like the cartoon. So like some kind of gummy bear castle. So I want it in like a gummy bear shaped box. What's that, Jen?
Friendly to the gummy bears.
Yeah, gummy bears bouncing here, there, and everywhere. All right, Dave. Question 3.
All right, so this next question, 60 feet. It doesn't seem like much, but under the weight of water, the short distance is enough to triple the pressure of our normal atmosphere. And it's about as far below the surface as humans can live in a strange, isolated place where your voice pitch goes up, cuts heal faster, rashes spread with abandon, and batteries deplete more quickly. Wow. Which is why Fabien Cousteau, ocean researcher and the grandson of Jacques Cousteau, he wants to build an underwater lab like the International Space Station.
Oh, sick.
And it only is going to cost. He's starting fundraising for this. He wants to build this lab. It's only going to cost $135 million to have a lab 60 feet under the sea so they can study the ocean.
Yeah, careful, Jen. You got tennis elbow. Be careful there.
So, Jen, do you have any interest in visiting the lab under the water, under the ocean?
I'd go under the ocean before I'd go into space.
Well, I would go into space before I do anything, but I definitely want to go under the sea because I can see Ariel, I can see Sebastian, I can see Aquaman. It'll be fantastic. Dave, great question. All right, question 4. And by the way, what is that Ray's? Is that Sweet Baby Ray's?
Yes. So I'm shredding it and I'm putting the Sweet Baby Ray's on. I can give you the recipe to put on your website.
I want the recipe. People are already asking about it, Jen. All right, Dave, question 4. And I love that Jen is making this roast while we're doing the one-on-one.
We know that
we know that
the first baseball game was on ESPN tonight, but when Major League Baseball kicks off its 2020 season on Fox, viewers may not notice that there aren't fans in the stands because Fox announced that they're going to fill the seats of Wrigley Field, Dodger Stadium, Nationals Park, and Petco Park with hundreds of virtual attendees, and we'll do the same at all ballparks from which it broadcasts over the next several weeks.
That music.
So the question is this like really cool, or is this kind of too gimmicky to have virtual fans in the stands?
Who goes first?
Jen, I'll go first. I love it. It looks kooky, but I'm kooky. So when I pay for my Squatch likeness in the stands, 1,000,000%. If my dad can buy a brick at Michigan Stadium, I can spend some money on being a cardboard cutout as a fan at Ford Field or wherever it is. I think it's great, Jen.
I love it too, because watching this game tonight, it feels a little vacant. And when they piped in the sound, I was like, okay, I like the noise. Because that's the thing about games. The electricity, the human vibration, the whole deal. It's got to be, and I like it.
I love it, Jen. We've had now 5 requests for that recipe.
There's on Fox 2 this weekend, by the way, too. Tigers openers on our air tomorrow night, and then Saturday we've got a triple header. So.
All right, I can't wait. We definitely need that recipe. We have a lot of people that requested the recipe, so we'll get that. Put it on the Task Force fan page. All right, Dave, let's hit out of the park as we always do. While Jen makes that final touch of the roast there with question 5.
Last question for you, Jen. A Chinese scenic spot has opened the world's tallest swing, which perches on the edge of a 2,300 square foot tall cliff. So it's out on a cliff, okay? Footage shows thrill seekers screaming as they were bound to a harness horizontally and flung out at a top speed of 80 miles per hour at its grand opening today. The extreme ride is a whopping 320 feet tall, roughly the equivalent of a 30-story building. Are you itching to get on this ride?
Never. I can barely go up in an escalator without my knee buckling. I am so heights. I did jump off the cliff at Rick's at the grill in Jamaica.
Yeah.
That's
Well, Dave, I love that kind of stuff. I get scared. How tall? 325 feet?
That's crazy.
How many stories is that?
30-story building.
80 miles an hour.
Launching you horizontally over the cliff at 80 miles per hour.
No way.
It's a swing.
I'm going to do it. I do it, absolutely.
It looks like the St. Louis Arch. It's a big arch.
I'll just monster up. I'll get a couple.
Takes you out.
By the way, Monster, we need another sponsor. Please get it going. I'll monster up, and I'll get it done, Dave.
I don't know.
There it is. Race.
I don't know. Speaking of extreme rides or thrills, my brother Eric, the one who graduated from Western, back in the day, bungee jumped in New Zealand off of the second highest, tallest peak in the world.
Wow.
And we have video of it with this really freaky music. It is the craziest thing you've ever seen in your life.
We will have to show that on the task force. Dave, great job, Jen. A+. All right, while Jen finishes up a roast that I have to at least try some from.
It's not roast, it's pulled pork.
Oh, yeah, pulled pork. It's a pulled roast pork.
Roasting, it's been seasoned and roasting for 8 hours in my crock pot.
And I love what Jason Brown says. He says, smack it up, flip it, rub it down. Oh, yes, instead of oh, no. But before we do, I got a couple more questions for you, Jen. And we'll share our outside and take your time. But I want to take a quick – go ahead. What's that, Jen?
I said my whole night's for you.
Oh, you're the best. But I do want to take a moment to talk about another one of our great friends, and it's our good friends at Amwager. Now, we talked tonight about baseball coming back, basketball, hockey, football, and I hope Jen's right that they finish. I still am not in that kind of feeling yet, but I'd love to be wrong about that. But we know that horse racing has had quite the renaissance, and our great friends at Amwager are doing this just till Sunday as a great present to task force watchers. Go to amwager.com, enter in the promo code task force, and no deposit even needed. Just put in task force, they'll give you $10 free. And if you lose that money, or if you win $1,000, whatever, but if you want a deposit, they'll match your first deposit up to $100. 100 space bucks, if you will. So check them out at Amwager. We love being partnered with them. Dave knows that I love the ponies. I occasionally will be up 2, 3 in the morning playing Australian harness, maybe some races in Japan. It's a lot of fun, Jen. And you also get daily cash rewards for playing on top of the match bonus.
I want to play poker with Greg Campy.
We've invited you many times, Jen. Why haven't you played?
I don't know how to do it. I need you to send me the email and talk me through it.
All right, I will do it. But also, if you want to play some ponies, Jen, it's a lot of fun. And you got the Derby coming up soon and the reverse Triple Crown. But go to Amwager just until Sunday. You have the ability to get that free $10 just by putting in the promo code Task Force, and then up to a $100 match bonus for any of your first deposits out there. Tell them the Task Force sent you. Put in that promo code. You'll be all set. Watch, play, win. Numbers there. Website's amwager.com. Promo code Task Force. And our good friends, unfortunately, with the stage of the coronavirus kind of resurging, our good friends at Thomas McGee's aren't able to be set up the way they normally are, but they're working on their patio. They're a great friend of the show. They're a big support to us. Dave's been there before. It's a great place to watch MMA, to watch boxing, to watch international soccer. So please support local businesses. They're in Eastern Market, and I guarantee you they'll have a
I love that
party.
place.
It's the best, Jen. And they will, Eric Olson, great, and they will definitely be showing the Tyson Roy Jones fight. So please get down there.
Yeah, we got to go there for that.
We will definitely, we'll do a live show from there.
We'll put on masks and get there. So
Yes,
I just
Jen.
want to know, do you guys like more barbecue sauce than this? Do we like it really soupy barbecue sauce?
I think that you've done the perfect amount, Dave. I think that you don't want to oversaturate it because you want to taste the pork. I think that's perfect, Jennifer.
The pork, I will say,
looks great.
I took one bite. I'm going to take one more bite. This is good. And it's going to be even better tomorrow.
Alan Silver's calling me out. He says, Danny, it's pork and Jewish. Well, listen, I don't keep kosher. I love pork. I love bacon. Another one here from Omar's daddy. Love the show. Keep the style performances. Very kind. A little swizzle sticks as well. Danny Martin Jen says, Leach is the man, but Hammer is a legend. Love all of you. And John Anthony said, Hammer looking good, as you always do as well.
Thank you, my friends.
All right, so Jen, I wanted to ask you this, and then I've got a little rapid fire called Hanging with Hammer. That we'll get to in a second here. But I wanted to, as many people have asked leading up to the show, and they wanted to ask Dan Miller and Woody and Greg the same thing. What was it like to deal with me as an intern? Not once, but twice. And I'll tell a story after you're done of something really nice you did for me. I mean, you've always been nice to me and so kind and supportive. But
I was going to tell a story about when you walked in the second time, and I was like, is he back?
Totally
I will say,
could see that.
Sometimes when I'm at work and in my workspace, I like to be quiet. And even I've said this to Jeff Rieger in the press box, because some days I just like quiet and I like to just sit and watch baseball.
Yep, I let you watch it sometimes. Don't talk.
Do my thing. And sometimes I just have to say, shut up. You're bugging me. Be quiet. Now you're going to get to see my yard.
That's the way Jeff Rieger and I operate. We never shut up.
The two of you at the same time in the press box are...
It's got to be the loudest press box ever.
It is.
Between the two of them.
I will say that
I'm getting to be a little bit of, an older lady who sometimes just likes to do her work and do her work.
Do our work, and that's it. Don't get bothered by Leach and Riggs. No, but I will say this: you
But
really
it doesn't.
have always.
I love you both. It comes from a place of love.
Of course, and you've always been incredibly kind and supportive of me. But I will tell a quick story. When I was interning, you guys were always so good to me. They let me do a studio tape, like a demo tape with the crew stayed after, which I couldn't thank them enough. I think I got them all like pops or beers or whatever. But they were so nice.
Did you have a coupon for that stuff that you bought them?
I probably did have a coupon.
Okay.
I'm a coupon guy.
All right, good.
But I did my demo tape, and they all were so kind to let me do that. And I remember showing it to you, Jen. And remember, I was a good guy, but I was also out of my mind. I was very hyper, and as you said, I would never shut up. But I showed it to you, and you gave me just such a incredibly nice compliment and said, that's a tape that could get you hired somewhere. And I was 21 years old, and I had a lot of bad times ahead with the drug issues, and I obviously needed to learn about life and my way to live life the best. But to know you say that you said that at that point in my career gave me hope that I could make it. So I don't know if you remember that.
Do we still have a copy of this?
I want to thank you. Yes, I do.
Oh, can we please put that up?
I will say I don't lie about things like that. Like I wouldn't have said that if I didn't feel it or believe it, or
of course
think that it was true. The other thing too is that I honestly, Dan, you're a great, kind of flag bearer for pulling yourself out of a terrible time and surviving. And there's not a lot of people that can say they've done that or could do that. So, kudos and congratulations to you. When you always, say however many days sober, tell me what it is now.
9 years and 6 months.
Yeah. When you say that on the air, I just continually, I'm blown away because especially in this business where there's a lot of partying and drinking and boozing and carousing and gathering and watching sports and having a beer, and good for you. There's a lot of people who probably need to be sober for 9 years that don't have the gumption to go through with it and look themselves in the mirror and say, I need to get myself clean.
Well, no, that means the world to me. And I do remember speaking of that when I was interning, I think it was me, you, Shep, and someone else. We went to the Palace Bar after covering a Pistons game, and I do believe I had a drink back then. That's how long it was. 20 years.
The Palace Grill.
Yeah, the Palace Grill.
Yeah.
Grill. You took me there. Remember, I knew some people when I was 19, 20 years old, and you're like, "Let's go," because I was shadowing you that night, and we went to the Palace Grill, had a drink. You were super nice. Shep was there. I can't remember.
I bought a drink for a minor.
No, I was of age at that point. I was able to drink that. But no, we got great people at Channel 4 and 7. But you and Dan and Woody have always been so supportive. And just to piggyback on what you said, I appreciate that so much because I do feel like if I can help others, it really helps me too. Like that keeps me sober.
Yeah, right.
But you've been a big beacon of support and love, and I have such respect for you in so many ways, but especially for that. So I appreciate that a lot.
Oh, this is just a great big love fest. Are you?
It's a love fest.
Rieger?
Hey, yeah, every show, seriously, our guests will commend Dan on his sobriety. It's great. I mean, it's tough. I've never gone through it, so I can't say that I know exactly what he went through, but I got to believe that it was very tough. And I know Dan's family pretty well. And so I know that they're very, very proud of him and very happy that he was able to come through it because it had to have been tough on them also.
Yeah. Good
It
kid.
was.
Good
Thank
kid,
you.
Leach. I'm proud
You
of you.
guys are the best. Thank you very much. All right, well, let's have some fun with this. I call this hanging with the hammer. All right, Jen, you mentioned a couple of things, but I wanted to get a specific answer. Little rapid fire here. Your all-time favorite athlete? I know it's really a brutally tough question.
God, that
but
is so
for me,
hard.
it's Barry Sanders, and I probably always will be.
To watch, yes, but like the guy that I see and that I want to hug, and I'm like, oh my, that's like a great person and human. Well, he's not an athlete. Jim Leland is one of my.
That counts. That totally counts.
One of my favorite people that I ever covered.
He was incredible. I got to sit down and do a Q&A with him in Comerica.
So I learned more about reporting and everything in baseball from him than any other time in my career. Chris Spielman, love Chris Spielman.
Spielman, the heart and soul guy. All right, you have had an incredible career.
You know what I have to say? I just want to point this out.
Sure.
When I was in Chicago and I was leaving CLTV to come take the job at WDFN, my boss there said to me, he said, just give it 2 years. You're going to hate every one of those athletes because they're such pompous H's.
Right.
And I said, oh, okay, cynic. You know, I'm thinking to myself, okay, you know, because I'm not really a cynical or a skeptical person. I'm really optimistic, and I really like people. I like people. So anyway, so once I got here, you know, I was kind of waiting for it to happen. And there were moments where I thought, oh boy, they're bugging me. But by and large, after since 94, you know, 26 years here in Detroit covering athletes of all the teams, this city has had some really, I know we haven't had winners and everybody will be like, yeah, but they never won. This city has had a lot of great people, like Chauncey Billups. He won. Great guy.
Dave loves
Chauncey. I love Chauncey Billups.
So he could be one of my favorites of all time.
That's a great one.
It's so crazy that the Pistons are on my I love Chauncey Billups, but the person I could not stand, Rasheed Wallace.
If he didn't leave Big Shot Bob, we have 2 titles.
Oh God.
He was a tough nut when he played here. But when he was coaching, he came up to me and gave me a hug and he was like, how are you still doing? What are you doing? And I thought to myself, really?
Do you know how many post-game interviews that I had to get up to Matt Derry live that he ruined because of the music that he decided to play a little too loud on purpose in the locker room?
And the same thing goes on in the Tigers clubhouse too.
Oh, but it was
the
horrible.
Tigers clubhouse to be the worst.
He did it on purpose. Oh, it was the worst.
Right,
of course he did.
It was the worst.
Stony weighing back in. Wrong one. 2 Jews eating pork, the miniseries. So we'll get on that. Ray Templin says hi, Jen. Our good friend Ray Templin.
Two Jews eat. I'm 11% Jewish as well. I don't know if
yes,
knows that.
you're
Ray.
Stony also says that Leach was probably a better waiter than intern. I'm sure. I was a good intern. I was crazy, but I was pretty good.
You were a good intern.
Jen, you have had, as we've talked about throughout, and everyone knows this, an incredible career. You mentioned the staying power. I know it's going to be another kind of unfair question, but what to you is the most special moment of your broadcasting career?
Probably the Red Wings parade after the 97 Cup.
Yep. I was there.
That was it defied words. Even now it gets me emotional, like thinking about and being in the bowl the moment that Yzerman held up the cup. And there was this older gentleman who was sitting behind me because I was kind of standing on the concourse and between the lower bowl and the upper bowl. And he had tears streaming down his face. And I thought to myself, God, this is a moment that we're all going to remember together forever. And it was incredible. I mean, it's what you get into sports for. And I always laugh at those or kind of scoff at the people who are, you know, journalists or in sports who are like, I'm not a fan. I can't be a fan. If you're not touched or moved by the events that take place around you and the things you cover, then you're just not there. You know, I mean, wake up. It's a really cool experience to be able to do what we do and to be able to tell and share those stories. I mean, I think that summer when they won the first cup and we chased it all over the place, all over town.
Yep.
It was just so cool to see how the whole city really rallied around that. And I think that's probably one of my favorite moments.
I remember running into you. I had already interned once, but I think I hadn't started my second one, but we were in DC together. I was there for the Tibetan Freedom concert. And then in front of Vladimir Konstantinov in the suite when the Wings won in DC, you were all over that cup as well. You covered that like a glove.
Yeah, we were there too. That one was harder to cover.
Yeah.
We had one of our satellite trucks broken into. We had some cameras
I
stolen.
remember.
That was a tough work assignment. And I remember I went into the locker room the day of I think it was the game day skate or game 3. And Doug Brown was such a jerk to me. And I had my sunglasses on and I had tears streaming down my face. And I thought, you know what, Doug Brown used to be one of my favorite players. And now you just wrecked my day. I
By the
was
way,
so pissed.
good friend of the show, Tony Paul, weighing in, saying that looked better than anything I've ever cooked in my 42 years. Hammer is a 5-tool superstar. That I'm telling you, that pork looked pretty amazing.
So Hammer, jumping in real quick. So if the parade was the greatest thing you've ever covered, can you imagine what it would look like if the Lions ever won a Super Bowl and they had a parade here in Detroit for that? How would it compare?
No. Yes.
4 million
and
people.
I think it's gonna come.
It is.
It's gonna come.
I think, Jen,
it's gonna happen. They will win.
I think that you look at the million
I don't know how
plus.
soon.
You look at the million plus that were at the parade in Hart Plaza for the Wings. If the Lions won a Super Bowl, it'd be 4 million people in that whole area. It'd be crazy.
It'll be insane. And I hope I am still working in this market.
You will be. All right. Jason Brown, quickly,
And
Jen.
I already did.
All right. Jason Brown wanted me to ask you, where'd it go?
Can you guys
Some of your
hear me
favorite,
still?
yeah, some of your favorite restaurants around town.
Come on, don't tell me I've gotten an hour and 6 minutes into this and now I'm having technical difficulties.
I think you're doing great.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're fine.
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear us?
I can't hear you.
Oh, no. Dave, we only have this up one other time, Dave. Just
Okay, I'm so sad I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Where
Try to
are
restart.
some of Jen's favorite restaurants around town? Can I answer
there
that
you go.
question since I read it?
Sure.
I love Ottava Via, which is downtown right next to Nemo's, which is delicious. I think Nemo's is probably the best burger in town. I like going there for a burger. I love Ottava Via. I love Market in Birmingham. They have great food. That's one of my favorite spots. Also, there's a great place, the Dime Store downtown, for breakfast and brunch. Amazing. And I love Lafayette, Coney Island too.
Can you still not hear us, Jen? Are we still out
I really
there?
want to hear you. Can you guys do something for me?
Yes. What do you want to do? What does she want us to do?
Maybe if she take her out and then bring her
you.
back in.
Here, hold on. How about now? Can you hear us now?
Now?
Can you hear us now?
But you hear me, huh?
Yes. Have her.
I guess that's all that matters.
Hold on.
Questions?
Yeah, 1 second.
Hold question?
Leach, type something.
I'm going to
in the chat for her.
People like you, Jen. Oh, that's
all right, hold
Michael
on.
Stone. Thanks, Tony.
Hold on. Let me create this
People have
banner.
never seen you in your underwear like I have.
Really? Okay.
I've never done this live on the air. Here we go.
Do you want to text me and say what you're saying?
There you go. Restart your phone.
Restart your phone and come back in. Okay.
There it is. And Dave and I will take care of it till then. All right. So Jen's going to restart her phone. She's going to come back in. Dave, we've had the greatest show. And hour 6 minutes in, Jen Hammond.
Do we find it funny? Do we find it funny if I look back to all the shows we've done in the task force? We had technical difficulties with Matt Derry a little bit. We had some technical difficulties with Jamie one time. We had some technical difficulties with Parker. We had some technical difficulties with Stoney, and now with Hammer. What do they all have in common? WDN. And I've had technical difficulties.
Yes.
Too.
I told you
they're annoying. I hate when that happens. Like when we're in a Zoom call with the Lions or something and somebody's having technical difficulties and they can't get their mic on. I'm sitting backstage thinking to myself, or I'm sitting on the thing thinking to myself, what an idiot.
So Jen, we just had an epiphany.
Yes.
We've had technical difficulties with the following people: Matt Derry, Jamie Samuelson, Mike Stone, Terry Foster, Rob Parker, myself. I've had technical difficulties. Jennifer Hammond. What do we all have in common?
The ghost of WDFN.
The ghost of WDFN.
By the way, Jen, what is Chicks Picks was her favorite? It's from Stoney.
Wait, it's pouring rain in DC right now.
It is?
Yes, the game is rained out. It's in a rain delay.
Oh my God! Yeah, there it is. I just got the live feed on. Nice.
Wow.
Chicks Picks was something we started with Van Earl Wright because he didn't know much about sports at the time, and I was just kind of coming into my own as well. And we both couldn't carry a show, so on Friday we would do a segment where we'd have women call up and make their predictions for the NFL for the week.
Oh, I like that. Won't you have kidney stones in DC?
Oh, I forgot about that.
He would, wouldn't
he? Yes, poor Forge.
Yes. Poor big name.
I'm so glad that Stoney's here along for the ride.
Stoney's a big
Wojo is one DFN person we haven't had on yet.
Did you see the picture I tweeted the other day of me and Stoney with the Stanley Cup with Mike and Jane Vernon?
That was incredible. I retweeted that.
Oh my God. When he sent me that, I just howled. I couldn't believe how old that picture was.
I think we lost you technically for a minute when I don't know if you saw this. Tony Paul said that your pork looked better than anything you cooked in his 42 years, and that you're a 5-tool superstar.
I like that. I can give him the recipe. It's really easy. And actually, this is the first time that I've done it all the way to the shred. I've done stuff in my crock pot before, but not shred and barbecue. So this was a first. So I'm quite proud of it.
Send me that recipe. I'm going to put it on the task force fan page.
But I'll tell you how you finished it off. I have the soft hamburger buns. So you slap a good portion of the pork on your bun, and then you squirt a little extra barbecue sauce on it. And then you put a nice healthy scoop of creamy coleslaw on top of that. And then you sandwich it up and take a bite.
Yeah, someone asked, let me find that. Someone asked if you were making sliders. Here we go. They said, what is Hammer doing with the pulled pork sliders? They asked.
They're not going to be little. You could do them on little buns though and make them sliders. But I got big hamburger buns because my kids like to eat a meal. But they're teenagers. They've left. They've left me again.
Speaking of old photos, I used to bowl in a B'nai B'rith bowling league, and apparently you and Stoney made an appearance at a B'nai B'rith function one time years ago, and I see this picture constantly on the website where they would put our scores and our lane assignments, and it was always this picture of Stoney with a sweater on.
I was just going to say, was Stoney wearing his gray Jay Berry sweater?
Yes, and
he was wearing that sweater.
It's like the funniest picture ever.
Yes.
All right. Couple more, then we're going to let you go eat that amazing pulled pork. All right, so I like to ask this question of all of our guests, especially people like you that are kind of ingrained in Detroit sports history, but maybe it's someone that's not from Detroit or from some other realm in the world. If you could interview, and this is obviously someone that you've not interviewed before, anybody, and you would know that they would answer every question you ask. They wouldn't say next question. They wouldn't give you a canned response. If you could interview anybody from any walk of life, sports or other, pop culture, whatever you want, who would that person be?
Wow.
Answer all your questions.
Lou Gehrig comes to mind.
Ooh, I like it.
But I guess if I could get every question answered,
yes,
maybe somebody like John Wilkes Booth.
That's a great one.
Killing Lincoln. I mean, just something.
That's a great one, Jen. That's one of the best answers I
had. Oh my God, I'm blanking. The Jewish girl in.
Anne Frank.
Anne Frank. Phenomenal.
I think that those are Dave always gives. What is Chris Renwick saying?
I don't know. Chris
Renwick's an idiot. It's that show.
No. Chris Renwick was talking about he was making a sarcastic comment that said this show is terrible, but he spelled show. It came out as this shot is terrible.
Yeah, he's just being an idiot.
Sarcastic. So.
Dave's always given a great answer. He says Steve Jobs. So
always.
That's a great one. I would go with Lincoln, Kennedy, or Socrates. One of the three of them. All right. How about this one?
Socrates, also known as Socrates?
Yeah, I call him Socrates as a Bill.
Is that because of Bill Ted 3 coming out?
And by the way, Bill and Ted 3 is coming out in the fall. I cannot wait.
You know who else would be cool? Noah.
Yes.
The dude that built the ark.
What made him choose 2? Why not 3x3? Why 2x2? Why not 4 giraffes? I love it.
Well, that's the dumbest question.
That's not what I would ask him. I would ask him if it's true that he dropped.
How did he know? How did he know it was going to rain? How did you know what wood to use? Oh, go ahead.
No. Couple more here for you. How about this? Is another one that I always find fascinating to hear what people's answers are. If you could meet anybody, don't worry about interviewing, but meet anybody ever, living or dead, who would it be? Do we lose you again?
There, you got.
Oh, you're back. You're back.
You know, it's just when my phone like sends an alert or
tell
text.
people to stop texting. You're doing a great show right now.
Wow, it's pouring rain in DC, by the way.
That game ain't finishing.
So not only is the season not finishing, Dan, the game's not finishing.
No,
I know, right?
So did you get that question, Jen?
Let's see. The only the person I would like to meet.
Anybody, alive or dead?
Gosh, this is really hard.
I knew we asked the tough questions on the task force. That's the whole premise of the show. We are the task force for fun, entertainment, and frivolity.
Boy, maybe Amelia Earhart.
Ooh, that's a good
one. That's a good one.
I knew you were going to have a good answer.
There's just so many. There's so many amazing people who have, or Martin Luther King. I mean, there's so many amazing people who have just forged, a path.
I think for me, one of the people I think about is Nelson Mandela. I would have loved to have met Nelson Mandela.
Right.
To ask him what it was like in sacrifice.
Right.
All right, Tony Paul Hammer
who else too, though? Like, I mean, now I'm kind of missing some of my musical icons, like Janis Joplin, or Jim Morrison, Jimi Hendrix. Those three, like that's like the holy trilogy for me. I mean, those three, incredible.
All right, Tony Paul wants to know your most memorable blow-up fight with an athlete.
Well, so Stoney's probably listening in still. Stoney and Rob Parker got me into this one. It was with Pat. Oh my God, he was the linebacker for the Lions at this. Was it
Pat Swilling?
Pat Swilling?
Yeah, Pat Swilling.
Yeah, the guy that the big trade.
Yes, the big trade. And of course, I will talk to anybody and ask anybody anything.
Right.
And so I'm chasing him with the phone and I'm like, hey, will you go on the air? Will you go on the air with WDFN? It's Stoney and Parker, the odd couple, whatever. And so I hand him a phone and he's talking. And of course, Rob said something that pissed him off.
Of course he did.
He started cursing me out and screaming at me. And literally I took the phone. I'm like, hello? And they're like, Hammer, what's he doing, Hammer? And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, what did you
Come on.
So that I was really on the receiving end of that. I got a pretty good F-bomb tirade from Matt Anderson once in the Tigers clubhouse. Gibby, let me tell you, Gibby was not nice to me when he was a player, and he knows it. And he's even said, and I'll always be like, you're a bully.
Yeah.
He was pretty tough on me in the beginning, but for sure. And Matt Derry was there when I got the whole Mark McGuire shakedown. He was such an ass to me.
I've never really had interactions with him. I've heard he's such a tool.
It was unfair because all I did was Comerica Park was the last ballpark where he had not hit a home. He had yet to hit a home run. And I mean, he was a prolific home run hitter. So of course, hey, what's it going to be like when any extra juice? Because you haven't hit one here yet. And because I was a woman, he just decided to tee off on me. Ma'am, have you ever?
He called you ma'am? He called you ma'am?
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Did you want to slap him?
And we were in a scrum of a lot of people. And I will tell you one thing that kind of bummed me out. Nobody, not that people can really stick up for each other and that kind of thing, but I felt so like, I was like, wow, that guy just, can I say the MF?
Yeah, say whatever you want.
I mean, he like motherfucked me up one side and down the other. And I was like, what a dick. I mean,
Dave, really next time we see that guy, let's punch him. I've never been in a fight where
I did not.
Next time we see Mark McGuire, we'll next for sure. Yeah.
It really bummed me out because I was like, wow, he's just an awful human. that he would just go after someone like that.
That's what I think about Cordell Stewart. He was the only guy that was really kind of an asshole to me. I was young. I think I was actually I had credentials through Eastern Michigan because Batch was a classmate of mine, and I went to go cover the lines. I just wanted to teach myself how to do it. And it was after the famous coin toss game, Thanksgiving. And he would answer questions and take 6 minutes a question. And I just tried to get, not rudely, like the 5th or 6th question. I tried to get in there. He's like, I'm not done, man. And he like screamed at me. And like he pulled his towel off. He's totally naked, out of control. That was the only guy. Oh, and Patrick Waugh. Patrick Waugh, after he had smoked the wings in the, I think it was 01, he was the biggest DB after a win. I can't imagine him after a loss. He was a total ass to me. That's it, though. Everyone else, not terrible.
He was a colorful dude.
Oh, he's better as a coach.
Iserman could give it back in the day.
Oh,
you had to be really prepared and poised with your questions, and you could not back down or quiver with Steve because boy, he'd bury you.
He would. All right, last one.
I can't even talk to the guy that was really mean to me. That was like the worst experience ever.
Who?
I was calling Mike Lodish to be a guest on a show, and I'm a huge Denver Broncos fan.
Oh, God.
And this guy was so rude to me on the phone. And I'm like, I'm a Broncos fan.
Did that crush your soul, Dave?
It was so horrible. And then I had to. Then he showed up at the remote. And I had to meet him in person. He was really nice.
It's like he didn't. Being a jerk.
It's like he didn't record. He didn't remember the conversation we had. But I was like, I was crushed. I was like, terrible. It was horrible.
I'm gonna have it out with Loaders the next time I see him, Mr. Rieger, and I'm gonna tell him.
He was nice when I met him in person, but on the phone, he might have been having a bad day. I don't know. We were gonna talk about his
caramel corn,
whatever it was.
Peanut brittle.
Peanut brittle. That was it. The peanut brittle. Yeah, and it was like
you were doing him a favor, and he was.
And it was like he was being the biggest jerk. I was like, "Come on, what are you doing?"
I know. When he's a jerk like that, I just say, Lotus, stop being a jerk.
Stop being a jerk face. All right, Jen, last one for you with Hanging with Hammer. I know we both like music. We play music a lot in the press box.
Love music.
It's such an important part of our lives. If you had the chance to see anyone, whether they're still around, that's fine. Or if they have since, like we mentioned, Hendrix, but you can only see one band. That's it. You have one band or artist to see. And that's it for the rest of your life. Who would it be?
Oh, for the rest of my life?
That's it. You only can pick one to see him live. But if you want to go back to someone that's no longer.
So it's like the only concert I can see every year after year after year.
Yep, only concert. And if it's someone that's not alive, that's fine too.
Boy, I will say I sure do love Dave Matthews, and that's the band I go see every single summer.
Jen, next year or in 2022, I'm taking you to DMV.
I don't think you understand, Hammer.
What?
Leach plays Dave Matthews Band on the golf course for 18 holes every single time.
Yeah, I do love Dave Matthews because that's the only show. Like, there's so much music. It's so amazing that I could hear it.
And it's such a unique
I knew
style.
she was going to say Dave Matthews too. I was like, she's going to say Dave Matthews.
Eddie Vedder and Pearl Jam is close, but there's some Pearl Jam that kind of just beats me over the head a little too much.
Jen, they're my favorite, and I've met Eddie Vedder, and he's the size of a peanut. He's shorter than Jennifer Aniston.
I love Eddie Vedder. Love it.
I asked him, Jen, when he made me an autograph. I was backstage at the Tibetan Freedom concert when the Wings won that cup in '97. I stuck backstage. I had a credential, but not to go back to the artist area. And I asked him for an autograph. He had this huge security guard, 300-pound guy that protects him from all the crazy fans, mainly women. And I'll tell you this. I told him my name was Dan the Man, which is the dumbest thing I've ever said. So the autograph says Eddie Dan the Man Vedder. I mean, I'm super embarrassed. Like, I love Pearl Jam. I know that I did Dan the Man DTF, but the fact that I told Eddie Vedder, one of my heroes, my name was Dan the Man, that's the DBiest thing ever. But he was very nice, and I was super nervous. But Jen, do you know about the Dave Matthews Band channel on Sirius? It's the greatest thing ever. Oh, we lost her again.
Yeah, because she got an alert on her phone.
Yeah. Say that again, Jen.
She's back now.
Do you know about it?
On channel, it's channel 30 on my Sirius XM.
And it's back.
Yeah, it's back. It wasn't for a while, but I like the Spectrum.
Sure.
on channel 28. I do hit Dave Matthews' channel once in a while, but I only like them live when I'm seeing them live. I don't like listening to their live recorded music.
Yeah.
I like their studio music, or on my Sonos on my car.
Right.
Rather than hearing them live. I don't know why. Isn't that funny? Because I love their show.
I think
But
their
I
live
like to
stuff.
be there. Probably because I can, drink and do other things and enjoy the music. And it's just always like this wafting, this vibration. That's the thing I will say I miss the most out of all of this COVID is sporting events and concerts, because I crave and I thrive on human vibration. I love large groups, strangers, people I know, whatever it is, just people all together, either cheering
100%.
or singing in unison for the same thing, there for the same feeling and experience.
Yep. And I'm a big Fish fan too, and that's the way that is too. It's a big community thing. Dave
Yeah,
Matthews
that's
Band.
like the Grateful Dead, right? It's that
Yep.
whole
Oh
same
my
kind of
God. Oh
by
my
the way,
to a Dead show. Have you been to a Dead show, Dan?
Oh,
I've never
God.
been to a Dead show because I was never a big fan of theirs, but I've been to 28 Fish shows.
So yeah, you're one of those. Okay, but
So
you would have loved the Dead, I will tell you.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
my
I
brother.
was lucky enough that I saw Jerry Garcia. It
Did you?
wasn't that long ago, but in the 90s, yeah, a couple of concerts at Soldier Field.
Pearl Jam played
one year
after
back
that final.
in Dallas.
After the final concert at Soldier Field that Dan ever played with Jerry, Pearl Jam played the next show, and they talked about how the joints were still smoking on the stage and thanked them for the stage. It was awesome.
Yeah.
95.
I'm gonna
Dave?
get this guy. I'm gonna get this guy's name wrong. So my brother Eric, who lives in San Francisco, used to live in the Haight-Ashbury area.
Yeah.
Loves the Grateful Dead. Loves it. So is it Phil Lesh that the one
Yeah,
that's
Phil Lesh.
Phil Lesh.
Phil Lesh is the bassist.
So we haven't. So he has a daughter, Ayla, my other
Yep.
niece,
Mhm.
and he takes Ayla to see Phil Lesh, and Phil Lesh puts on concerts for kids.
Bro,
And
that
it's
is so noble.
Yes, and he loves it, and they go and they see Phil Lesh all the time in San Francisco, in that area, the Haight-Ashbury, wherever they see him, and everybody's there with their kids, and he puts on these little concerts for kids. It's Phil
That
Lesh from the
sounds
Grateful
great.
Dead.
My nephew lives out in San Francisco. I should ask him if he's ever gone to see Phil Lesh with
Yes.
his kids, because he's got 3 kids.
Yeah,
And he's a big Fish concert goer, Dan.
I know. So I was
at the legendary Fish show on New Year's Eve Millennium.
Are you 41, Dan? How old are you?
43, just turned 43.
Yeah, so my nephew's 41. You guys are right in the same
Yep,
wheelhouse.
and they had a famous show. Dave knows about this. It was called Big Cypress. They had a festival. I was there for a few days, and we had the biggest concert New Year's Eve Millennium. We were on with Peter Jennings, 80,000. They played from 11:30 at night till 8:30 in the morning, straight through. Porta-John on stage, tons of drugs, 8th row, greatest thing I'll ever do.
Wait, wow.
I was on 8 pills of ecstasy. I never sat down. I danced to the super cute
8?
girl the whole night.
Wait,
8?
did you just keep taking them as
Just kept taking them. Just kept taking them. But they played for almost 9 straight hours. It was incredible.
I love your repertoire of drugs and memories. That's
he
outstanding.
does have quite the dossier of drugs.
It's crazy too.
Yeah,
My
dossier.
sister,
Thank you, the dossier.
my sister will attest to this. With all the drugs I've done, my memory is better than anyone's in my family's. Like, I remember when I was 3. I have no idea how.
Well, how about your short term though? My long term memory is excellent. My short term.
my short term.
But I'm in menopause. I'm an older woman.
You're not that old. I have to write down lots of notes. I have to make lots of notes for myself.
Oh yeah, notes are good.
By the way, you mentioned other interesting things that you do at Dave Matthews shows.
I bet none of your other guests have told you they're in menopause, huh?
No, they haven't. But Jen,
All
if
right.
one of those other things you do, because you're not in menopause, I don't buy it. You're like 31. If one of those other things you do is marijuana, why don't you go to Michigan's Finest, use the DTM 420 promo code for 10% off? There you go. It's the least you can do.
All right.
So I don't know if that's what the other
that
things you do at
address.
Dave Matthews shows.
Get me that address.
All right, I got it for you. Actually, I think you have it here. 39112 Van Born in Wayne, Michigan. Get it
There
done.
you go.
All right, Jen, before we let you go, and I can't thank you enough, and I will say this again, and I can't say it enough, and Dave knows this. I've talked about this with Dave many times. There are few people in our business that are not just as talented as you, but are as kind as you. Even when you got to tell me to shut up in the press box, because I deserve it. But I want to thank you for inspiring not just me, but tons of young girls to get in the business, tons of young broadcasters to get in the business. And I think that it says a lot about you, your staying power, your career, that you've done it this long in one place with Dan and Woody and Greg, and that you've done it in such a high quality. I thank you on behalf of all those people that have watched the show, the Stonies, the Matt Dairies, but also the regular listeners and viewers,
right?
Because you inspire all of us, Jen. You really, really do.
Thank you. And I love it. And it's funny. I love it more now more than ever. It just doesn't get old. I mean, certainly there are days when I'm tired and I'm like, oh, I wish I didn't have to get up at 9 o'clock.
Sure.
I'm like a sleep in. I'm a night owl. I mean, my juices just get flowing at midnight. I'm up watching TV till 2 or 3 in the morning. But it really is an amazing ride and career. And Detroit is the greatest sports city. I'll tell you, people who haven't played here or been here or lived here, people don't get Detroit. But those of us who are here and are in the know, yeah, we're lucky and we know it's a special place.
All right, before we go, we always share an interesting house item. You shared basically your entire house, but I'm sure you got something else you could show us because you got a full area of incredible merchandise and memorabilia. And I don't know, do you want to show us another pork recipe or anything you want?
Well, I showed you my cat. She ate the fly, by the way.
She ate the fly.
I showed you my baseball.
Now, by the way, is there any specific Lucy, this guy with diamonds, or is there any reason her name is Lucy?
Well, so yeah, actually, so my nickname when I lived in Chicago after college was Lou. My girlfriends all called me Lou because I was like a man. I smoked cigarettes and cigars and played pool and drank beer and like sports. They're like, you're our guy friend.
You're a guy friend.
My nickname was Lou. They called me Lou, my girlfriends in Chicago. And so when I adopted Lucy, I actually got her at Petco when they were having like one of those Saturday adoptions.
Right.
And they bring in all these kittens, these cute little animals that everybody wants to scoop up and everybody wants to take home a cute little kitten, right? Everybody wants the hottest chick in the bar. So I found the one that was like 1 year old. She was dusty. She was dirty. She was huddled in the corner and I knew no one would take her. So I took her. And her name was Barbara.
Barbara? Who names a cat Barbara?
That's
it's
what
like
I
naming
said.
A dog George. Like, who names a dog George?
I know. Well, my friend has a dog named Bob, but that's kind of cute. So anyway, so I did not want a cat to be Barbara, so I changed her name to Lucy because I figured then that way I could call her Lou, and it was an ode to my girlfriends in Chicago.
I like that. By the way, Jen, our good friend Noah Tristram has texted in and said you and Hammer should be ESPN's rain delay program.
Yeah, right? We really should. I'm trying to find something interesting. I feel like I have.
Right.
I was going to show you my mom's ashes, but that's kind of morbid. And an Emmy
yeah, but it's still cool.
And an Emmy is kind of, I'll show you something.
Hey, I love your Emmys. You deserve all of them.
No, I'm not going to show you that.
We luckily have gotten to see most of your house, which I love.
I like the fact that
it's a 1926 bungalow.
I like when
Hang on, I'll show you my Christmas lights. How about I show you my Christmas lights on my porch?
All right, what are you saying, Dave?
When Stoney walked around with his phone, everything froze. So at least Hammer's still.
Hammer's a tech whiz.
Remember that? We saw Stoney's jersey down in his basement for like a half hour.
All right, what do we got? There we go.
I was gonna hang on. Oh wait.
Take your time.
Oh, my elbow is stuck. Oh, it's so swollen.
Don't get your elbow stuck.
This is my porch.
Ooh.
Those are my Christmas lights.
That's pretty cool.
They're up year round. Yeah, it's my porch.
All right, well, things are safe. I'm coming over with a bottle of wine for you and we'll have some pork.
Okay.
2 things good for Jews.
Yeah, I don't have anything.
No, you did a great job. You showed us, like I said, much of your house. So we love it.
Yep.
All right, Dave, what do you got?
It smells like pork in here, though. Go figure.
I don't know why I decided to do this, but I was bored. So I decided to start a puzzle. So
I thought that was a vision board at first. I was going to seriously throw up.
That's a hard one.
So this is the puzzle that it's the history of television. And this is the puzzle I'm working on.
Wait, so how far is it done?
I've got the border done. That's about all so far.
That's pretty good, Dave.
So
That is awesome.
So this is the history of television, and I think if you look right down at the bottom here, we're gonna see Hammer's favorite guy, Mark McGuire.
Yeah, there he is.
Oh, there he is. Yeah, I thought that was Chris Kattan at first.
next to Joe Namath. But there's Mark McGuire for you.
Mark
Hammer.
McGuire, screw that guy. He was juicing. All right, I haven't shown this in a while, but Jen, I think you'll get a kick out of this because I also have a message with all that's going on. If we want sports to stay going, people need to wear masks. So Dave, does this look familiar to you? This is from Dave's Aunt Lois.
Oh my! You have to
Dave, tell Jen the story really quick.
Oh my God! So my Aunt Lois out in Arizona is retired, and she now is the family seamstress for masks.
She's the seamstress for the band.
So she's been sending everybody masks. So I showed Dan that we get a mask, and my aunt, for some reason, loves Dan on Facebook. I don't know why. I can't explain it.
There's many
reasons. They have nothing in common. It's just very funny that she always says that she loves Dan.
That's cute.
So then Dan sends a message to my aunt, and please, Dan, tell Hammer what you wrote in the message to get my aunt to send you the mask.
The message said, "Sweet Lois."
To my aunt,
Sweet
Lois.
Sweet Lois. I would be honored if you could help make a mask for me. So she sent one. She mailed it. It had instructions, and it's keeping me safe. And the message is that if we want sports to happen, if we want to stay healthy, if we want things not to shut down again, wear a mask. It's so simple.
We got to wear our masks.
Please,
I know.
mask up. Jen, before we go, parting shots from all of us, and I can't thank you enough. What would you like to say to all the great people that have enjoyed watching you tonight, including our good friends Stoney and Diesel and Tony Paul and everyone else? What would you like to say to everyone before we go tonight?
Just be kind. Be kind to everyone. We're living in a really weird time.
Yep.
People are stressed financially, professionally. There's a lot of food insufficiency for people who have lost jobs. Do something nice for someone else and just be kind to people.
Beautifully said, Dave.
Yeah.
By the way, I found my poop pen from David Buster's. I really miss that place. Poop pen.
Wait, poop pen?
For showing
Poop
us
pen.
that.
I did get some emoji golf balls for Mother's Day. I haven't
Did you
hit them.
really?
Yeah, one of
Poop
them
pen.
has the poop emoji on it. So
Yeah, it says, there you go. Shit happens. All right, Dave, go ahead.
You know, I always end the task force with the same line. My favorite TV show, Friday Night Lights, Coach Eric Taylor was my favorite, one of my favorite coaches on television. He always used to say, "Clear eyes, full hearts can't lose."
oh, I
Beautiful.
love
So,
that.
I think that's just the best line that he used to send out the football team with every game. So
Jen, we've had a lot of great guests on this show, but this is easily one of my favorite of any of them because you are who you are. And I thank you enough about Stoney weighing in. You are the best, Jen. You really are.
Well,
You're the
and
best.
I cooked pork, and you
you cooked pork?
My pork.
And are you eating a peach now, or is that an apple?
Apple.
I was going to say, "Eat a Peach" is a great Allman Brothers band album.
It's a
Well-
hey, you can go music trivia with me all night.
Dave, tell Jen about me.
yeah, you're pretty good. We did the
I got 100 out
100.
of 100.
You did 100 out of 100 on the Amazon greatest. What was it? The greatest rock songs, the greatest
Yeah.
100 rock songs. You
I got
them all.
every single one, an average of 2 to 4 seconds, Jen. So you and I are going to set something up. We'll do it for charity or whatever.
I would love it.
Well, because I know you know your music. That's why one of the many reasons I love you. But I just want to say this, as I kind of was expounding upon on the mask thing. Be kind to each other. We need love. Like you said, Jen, it's a stressful time. We need love, not hate. We need to come together. I don't care what your political affiliation is. I don't care if you love or hate the president. Just be kind to each other. Open a door, wear a mask, call a friend, tell them you love them, check in with people, and let's get through this together. And Jen, just to get back to you, thank you for what you do.
Absolutely.
Thank you for your kindness to me and to people like me and Dave your entire career. We
Thank
are so
you.
lucky and grateful to have you in this market. And I hope you're here for another 50 years because you're only 30, so you'll work till you're 80.
Huh.
And thank you
good.
so much. What's that?
I said, "Oh, good, okay."
Yes.
On
No, but
behalf of Olive, thank you for the FaceTime videos from Comerica Park. Yes.
Love Olive. That
But-
girl, what a smooch.
Keep up the great work. Thanks for all you do. And it was so great spending time with you. And I can't wait to see you
Hey.
in person.
Thanks for having me. It was a blast. I will be at opening day, and you can watch all of our coverage on Fox 2. And like I said, tomorrow night, the Tigers game will be on Fox 2 as well.
And they can, of course,
Stoney's
right
got
there.
A quick trivia question.
Who does?
Leach. Stoney, quick question for.
It's going to be
right.
Bruce. I can't answer Bruce. I've never.
All
seen
right.
Bruce.
He said, "You got to be cruel to be kind." Who's saying that?
Oh, you gotta be cruel. Oh my God. Oh my God.
The Clash?
Nope. Gotta be. Hang on.
I don't know. I don't know this one.
I don't know either.
Brampton?
I know it. I'm gonna kill myself that I don't know it.
What era is it?
80s.
80s.
Hang on, Stoney. I'll get it.
All right, we'll give Stoney a minute here.
Jason Brown.
He's got to put the answer in.
Jason Brown giving a hint.
Playing in my head. Let's see.
Is that a hint? Is that a hint?
I have no idea.
No, it's a
Let me
guess.
see the hint.
Oh, the
I feel
hint
like
gives
it's
the
something
name.
that begins with an N.
Yes, I
that's
have
correct.
no clue who this is.
Yeah, who is Nick
Something
Lowe?
that begins with an N. Nick or Niall or.
Yeah, it's Nick Lowe. But who
I
is
have
that?
no idea who that is. I have no idea who that
Who's
is.
Nick Lowe?
I know
Nick
Nick
Lowe.
Cassavetes.
I
Who's
know,
Nick Lowe? Is it Derek Lowe's brother?
Good one, Stoney. I was close. I knew. Like the whole song.
Who
was
is
playing
Nick
in my
Lowe?
head.
Yeah,
Tell
I
us who
have no
Nick Lowe
idea who
is.
that is, Jen.
Who's Nick Lowe?
All right, Stoney. How about here's one for Stoney. Desperate but not serious.
Desperate but not serious. All right, Stoney, answer it. Here, by the way, if people are wondering, because we like to teach people on the task force, this is Nick Lowe. I have no idea who this is. Let's see. He is 71. He's from the River Thames.
Can you play the music or no?
Well, I can't. See, Dave, were just talking about this. I can play music, but I got blocked by EMI by playing a Coldplay song. So I think the one thing that can screw us up and get our stream blocked is by playing music that I don't have the rights to. Oh, Stoney said he played with Elvis Costello. All right. Yep. Peace, love, and understanding. He's best known for the songs Cruel to Be Kind. I love the sound of breaking glass. All right. Well, Jen, what was your question to Stoney again?
Desperate but not serious.
All right. Desperate but not serious. What do you got, Stoney?
Who sang it?
Did you sing a couple bars for us?
Me?
Yeah, you got a great voice.
Desperate but not serious. Your kisses drive me delirious.
Stoney is saying, or Jason Brown gets the seeds.
Nope.
Is it 80s?
Oh, Stoney says no clue.
Yes, he says no clue. Oh, hold on, I want to try to guess here. Jed, give me the first letter of the name of the band or the artist.
Oh, A. Sorry, I just
A?
said it. Did you hear me say it?
No, I didn't hear it. The first letter's what?
A.
Stoney, Adamant?
Yes.
I didn't hear you say it. I swear to God. Stoney wanted to hit.
Adamant.
All right, we're gonna do. Jen, I'm gonna have you back on. We're gonna do a music trivia show. It's gonna be set.
I like that. Sorry, you get to see me wash my hands and wipe my face. And by the way, pork is not for dinner tonight. It's going to be for lunch tomorrow.
Ooh, what was for dinner tonight?
I had a burger at like 5:30. I can't eat dinner at 9:45. That's too.
No, it's too late. Too late.
It's vodka time.
Yes. All right. By the way, Fletcher did that. Jen, I can't thank you enough. We'll definitely do this again. We'll do some golf soon, some music trivia, more Stoney trivia. We'll definitely stone the Stone Squatch, but I can't thank you enough, and can't wait to see you soon.
I know. I hope I see you guys on either Monday at Comerica Park or Tuesday at the Lions or somewhere soon down the road in a stadium near you.
Yep. And by the way, Jason Brown says pork on Friday night, a Jew's dream. I'm in.
All right.
For the great Dave Kingpin.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
It was an honor, Jen.
Good to see you.
For Jennifer Hammond. I'm Dan Leach. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you next time on the Task Force.
Stoney
Believe in the dream.
Shot for him, Hammer.
How'd you name your show The Task Force?
Because it's a task force for fun, frivolity, and excellence.
Oh,
we're your force for fun.
Okay, I like
That's
it.
how we roll. So we'll see you next time on The Force. We appreciate everyone watching. Check out amwager.com, Michigan's finest, Thomas McGee's. Thanks to Jen Hammond. We love you all.